Hello lovely kids, today in this video we are going to start chapter number 2, Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom, from page number 19. In the previous video we have read the story given on page number 17 and 18 where we studied about the first non-racial government which took pledge on 10th May 1994 in South Africa. We have also read the essence of the speech of Nelson Mandela and discussed the question answers which are given on page number 18 and 19. That was the first oral comprehension. I hope you have done. You have written the answer in your notebooks. So today let's start page number 19, but I will request you to keep a pencil in your hand before that so that you can note down the important points and the new words of the chapter. So let's start. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in the air as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters and troop carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Clear? So here in this paragraph, please underline 2-3 words. First one is awe. So that is what? Awe. Awe means amazed, right? Amazed means surprised. Next is spectacular array, right? So spectacular means beautiful and in a dramatic eye-catching way you can say, right? Impressive way you can say. And array means what? Array means impressive display. Okay, array means impressive display. And then what is written, let's see. So just after the speech or the address of this newly elected president, right, to the audience, an impressive arrangement of fighter jets, right, and helicopters, that was the this helicopters and the jets, they raised everyone's head up in the sky. Why? They raised their heads in the sky, their eyes to see something. What was that? It was not only a display of pinpoint precision. So what is the meaning of precision? Precision here means what? Precision means accuracy. What is that? Precision means accuracy. Here it is given pinpoint precision. So precision means accuracy. Next is, so here he is saying that it symbolized what was the impressive arrangement was done. So it symbolized perfection as well as military's respect and obedience towards the free country. Clear? And what he is saying here, that only moments before here I am reading, only moments before the highest generals of the South African Defence Force and the police, their chest backdecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. Clear? So here you have to underline one word, that is backdecked. Bedecked means decorate. What is that? Decorate. Clear? So what he want to say here, that the high commanders, clear, who have won medals for their bravery, also saluted and promised their loyalty. Clear? And he is mentioning here that he is as well as aware of these commanders and these soldiers who were now saluting him. But these were only the soldiers who would have arrested him under the previous rule when he was a slave. Actually, he was not president, right? So he is saying that he is aware of, he remembered, right, the brutality of these commanders who arrested him and his people. But now they are saluting him, because now he is ruling them, right? He is the boss actually, who have arrested him, and they were oppressed by that white supremacy, when they were under the white supremacy. So that time they tortured him. Now I was not unmindful to the fact that so many years before they would not. This we have done here. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of the black, red, blue, green and gold of the new South African flag, right? So here he is saying that here he is saying about these these commanders and the soldiers, that he was considered to be criminal actually, because he was struggling, he was rebelling for his struggle. So those commanders and those you can say soldiers, they arrested him for that, right? But now they were saluting him. After that, the air show finally was there, and that was making a chevron. Chevron is what? A V pattern. So the jets were flying in this V pattern, and they were using the smoke of black, green, blue and gold of new Southern African flag. So these are the colors of the flag of South Africa, right? So this you have to underline. So with the smoke they have done the formation of the flag of South Africa. Who? The African jets, the army jets. Next, in the next paragraph, the day was symbolized for me by playing of our two national anthems and the vision of whites singing Nkosi Silalel, I Africa, and blacks singing Die Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they would soon know the words by heart. So here in this paragraph, symbolized means what? To be a symbol of something, right? And what is the lyrics? Lyrics is the words of the song. What are the words used in the song? That is known as lyrics. Clear? And despised means hated, okay, which is having a very low opinion, all right? Hate means. So the author here remembers the day as the playing of two national anthem of the country. Why two national anthem? Because one was of whites and other that of blacks, right? And the names also given. For whites it is Nkosi Silalel Africa, and for blacks it was Die Stem, right? These are the names of the national anthem, the starting lines you can say. On that day no one knew that, not whites nor blacks. So no one knew the wordings of anthems of blacks, but Mandela was confident that everyone would be soon learn this anthem that they once hated, right? Because the blacks were considered slaves that time, right? So that's why the whites, they do not know the song, they do not know the national song of blacks, national anthem of blacks. But he was sure that, he was confident that everyone, whites or blacks, they would soon learn this anthem that they once hated. Clear? On the day of inauguration, I was overwhelmed, with a sense of history. In the first decade of 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War and before my own birth, the white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned people of their own land. So here in this paragraph, this word overwhelmed, see, please do not read it overblamed. If you will do it overblamed, so that is different. It is overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means to have a strong effect and the emotion, right? And here he is saying that on this day of inauguration ceremony on 10th May 1994, he was remembering the days of past when the whole system of apartheid emerged, So I have told you in the introduction video, right? It was known as Second World War also of this Anglo-Boer War, clear, and of South Africa. So which was against British actually, and after that this system was erected, this apartheid system was erected. So he is remembering those days, that how this whole system of apartheid came to their country, that was emerged. It resulted in the inequality and the inferior treatment of dark skinned people. Clear? The white skinned people of the South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark skinned peoples of their own land, right? So this he is telling here. And the structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most human societies of the world has never known. So this is also very important thing here, you have to underline that this apartheid was the one of the harshest and one of the most inhuman societies of the world that was ever known. Clear? So they were deprived of their basic fundamental rights. Clear? So as a result, one of the world's most brutal and inhuman society was born according to this apartheid system, and this began even before he was born. He is telling that. Now in the last decades, this is also very important, because he is saying that this system was started before he was born. Clear? And now in the last decades of the 20th century, now in the last decade of the 20th century and my own 8th decade means his age is that time in 80s somewhere. Clear? And it was the end of 20th, it is the starting of, it is the last decade of the 20th century, means that was 1994, right? And my 8th decade and my own 8th decade as a man means he was in 80s that time, right? So here he is saying that this began even before his birth, and now it is ending. Now when he is in his 8th decade, means he is of 80s as a man, he along with countless others have changed this entire system that treats humans. That system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of the peoples regardless of color and the skin. So he is saying that along with his comrades, right, and many people who just took place in that rebellion, who just took place in this revolution, so that is what he, along with his countless with other peoples, they have changed this entire system that treats humans as humans irrespective of their colors, caste, gender or age, right? So this he is telling in this paragraph. Next is that day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people whose sufferings and the courage can never be counted or repaid. Clear? So he is saying here that it's unimaginable is what, very difficult, or it is impossible to imagine, right? So this equal and free country was a result of sacrifice. He is saying that this type of society which he is facing today, he is watching today, so this is actually the result of the sacrifices of the countless of the other men and the women who have fought all their lives for this day. Clear? I felt that day I have on so many other days that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. Now he is telling, he is remembering all those people who have fought, and they are not there, they are not there to see, to witness that program, to witness that ceremony of the winning, right? So the author wishes right? That long and noble line ended, and now begin again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them, and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices has wrought. So this word wrought means old fashioned. Clear? So here he is saying that he is wishing actually that if he could thank them all those people who have struggled for their country, and unfortunately they are not alive to see the result of their courage. So he gathered his courage and power from all these people, and thus he wishes to make them proud. Clear? Next is the policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from the profound hurt, but the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Thabos, Watler Cecilus, the Chief Lithilis, the Yusuf Dudus, and Baram Fishers, the Robert Sobukos of our time. So these were the names of the people who just struggled to get the liberty. So here in this paragraph, he is remembering all those people, right, and saying the oppression policy, that scared many people, and it will take long time for them to move on, right. And he is mentioning here the names of all those. He is also mentioning that was the hard time and had its negative impacts on everyone's life. It also exposed a lot of strong and courageous men also who stood up and raised their voice, right. What was the effect of that? What was the effect of that apartheid system that he is telling, right, that it is a long time, it will take a long time to move on. Clear? Because it has given the negative impact on the life of the people. But he is saying that many of the people, many of the men, women, they were too courageous actually, right, who stood up and raised their voice to get the freedom. But the decades of oppression and the brutality had another unintended effects. But he is saying that this treatment required level of unjust treatment to produce such great heroes, and these great heroes he says as comrades. And South Africa, he says, is not in the next page actually, you have to do courage, wisdom and generosity that their like may never be known, and perhaps it requires such the depth of operation to create such heights of character. My country is rich in minerals and the gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamond. So this is very important line here. My country is rich in minerals and gems that lie beneath the soil. Okay, so this is very important line here, which is the greatest wealth. This is important. So here he is saying that that South Africa is rich in minerals and gems, but its greatest strength lies in its people who struggled to get this achievement, who stood up and they raised their voice against the system, right. And it required that level of unjust treatment to produce such an great heroes. So that's why he is saying that people of South Africa are the real gems, or are the real strength, or the greatest strength. Clear? In next paragraph, it is from these comrades in struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Now this is very important paragraph. Time and again I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attack and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. So this is very important line here, that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. This he said, this he defined courage as in this paragraph. And when he is talking about comrades here, so comrades, what he wants to say, the fellow members, right, or the colleagues, you may say, who struggled, who fought for liberty. So to whom, like on the last page we have read some names, so those people he named as comrades. Next is resilience. Is what? Resilience is the ability, this word resilience, that is the ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effects. Clear? And the next important word is defies, that is refuse to obey, and triumph, you know, that is the victory, great achievement of something. So in this paragraph, the author is saying, who is the author? Nelson Mandela, that that he gained his strength, whatever the strength he got to stand against the wrong from all the great nationalists he mentioned above, who have even risked their lives for freedom and tolerated that ill treatment, right, which was done by whites, but they never stopped fighting. So from there he learned the courage, and what did he learn? That it means the absence of fear, but the ability to overcome the fear. So this is the definition of courage. Courage didn't mean the absence of fear, but the ability to overcome fear. Very important line. So the man who overcomes his fear is called brave, right? The man who is not, he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers the fear. So only that man who overcomes his fear is called brave, right? Next paragraph is, no one is born hating another person because of the color of skin, on his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to human heart than its opposite. So this is also very important line, that people must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite, right? So this is also very important line. Just make a star here somewhere and underline this. So let's see ahead what he is writing. Even in the grimmest time in the prison. Okay, but we have to discuss that also, that what is that. So he is telling that in this, no one is born hating another person, that one who is taught by its society to hate humans because of their skin, color, age, gender, and religion, and many more things. You know, we people hate actually many of another. So he is taught by society to hate humans because of their skin, color, age, gender, and religion, but no one is inborn with hatred, right? This is very important line and very good line of the chapter. What he is saying, that no one is inborn with hatred. The author's idea is that here, if the people can be taught hatred, they can also be taught love and brotherhood. कि नेचुरली जो है बच्चों को जब पैदा होते हैं तो हेट तो नहीं आता, ठीक है. अगर उनको हेट करना सिखाया जाता है, ठूस ठूस के उनको बोल बोल के कुछ कि ये अच्छा नहीं है, वो ऐसा है, वो वैसा है, ये है, वो है, समथिंग लाइक दैट. सो अगर उनको हेट्रेड सिखाई जा सकती है, सो दे कैन ऑल्सो बी टॉट लव एंड ब्रदरहुड, राइट. सो दैट इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट. This is very important and very good line he is saying, because love comes naturally to them, right. So love comes naturally to them, then its opposite. Even in the grimmest times in the prison, Grimaced means what? What is the glimmer? That means the shine faintly, right, you can say. So in the prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits. Pushed to our limits means pushed to the last point in our ability to bear pain. इतना उनको टॉर्चर किया जाता था कि मीन्स जब तक वो पेन सहन कर सकते थे, द लास्ट पॉइंट ऑफ दैट टॉर्चर. ओके, सो पुश्ड टू आवर लिमिट्स. This is the meaning here. Even in the grimmest times in the prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps of the humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me, to keep me going. So what he is saying here that कि जब भी हमें ट्रीट किया जाता था ब्रूचली जेल में, ठीक है. सो वंस आई सा कि जो भी उसमें टॉर्चर करने वाले जो सोल्जर्स होते थे, सो ही इज सेइंग इवन इन द ग्रिमेस्ट टाइम इन द प्रिजन व्हेन आई एंड माय कॉमरेड वर पुश्ड टू आवर लिमिट्स, जब हमसे बहुत बुरा टॉर्चर किया जाता था, आई वुड सी अ ग्लिमर ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी. ग्लिमर इज़ व्हाट? इट्स अ शाइन, ठीक है, एक रे, मतलब उनकी आंखों में दिखाई देता था वो जो टॉर्चर करने वाले लोग होते थे. आई वुड सी अ ग्लिमर ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी इन वन ऑफ द गार्ड्स, परहैप्स जस्ट फॉर अ सेकेंड, बट इट वॉज इनफ टू रीअश्योर मी एंड कीप मी गोइंग. तो दैट टाइम ही इज सेइंग कि when they were treated brutally, he would see, you can say, the pinch of humanity and kindness in one of the guards, and that was enough to keep him going. कि इतना वो पीटता था, इतना टॉर्चर करता था कि उसकी एक लिमिट होती थी, ठीक है, और उसके बाद वो भी बेचारा थक जाता था बिकॉज ही वॉज ऑर्डर्ड टू डू दैट, राइट. लेकिन उसकी आंखों में उसको कहीं ना कहीं, कभी ना कहीं तो उसको इंसानियत दिखाई देती थी, एंड दैट वाज द थिंग दैट वाज इनफ टू कीप हिम गोइंग. और उस टॉर्चर करने वाले की आंखों में जब उसने देखा एक ह्यूमैनिटी को, सो दैट थिंग कीप हिम गोइंग. He believes that the goodness in human beings can be suppressed but never eliminated. ठीक है, तभी तो उसने ये कहा है कि लोगों को, बच्चों को क्या सिखाना चाहिए जो बॉर्न, क्योंकि कोई भी ऐसा तो नहीं है कि इन बॉर्न तो किसी में हेट्रेड आया नहीं है, तो लव इज़ मोर नेचुरल, राइट. तो हेट्रेड क्यों सिखाई जाए लोगों को. नेक्स्ट इज सिंग, next we have to do, I think we have done the glimmer of humanity in the guards, that we have done. Okay, so he is telling, he is ending this paragraph with a very important and very beautiful note that he believes that when he was being tortured, so he believed that he got the ray of hope, or it was keep him going actually for his struggle, and the goodness in the human beings can be suppressed but never eliminated, never extinguished, he is saying, so that is never eliminated. Now we will discuss question and answers of this part of the story. So let's talk about that. Let's read. Question number 1 is, what do the military generals do? How has their attitude changed and why? So the military generals, okay, saluted Mandela and pledged their loyalty, which was of great significance during the apartheid time, apartheid era, you can say. They would have arrested him, but the change in their attitude was because of struggle and sacrifices put in by many heroes of South Africa, and this struggle not only ensured the freedom of a nation struggling with apartheid, but brought a change in the mindset of many. So he believed that love can also be taught, and human being is naturally inclined towards love rather than hate. So that's why the attitude was changed. Once again I am answering this. What do the military generals do? What they do? They saluted Mandela and they pledged for their loyalty, which was the great of the significance, and as during that apartheid time, and they would have arrested Mandela, but the change in their attitude was because of the struggle and the sacrifice which was put in by many of people of South Africa, or you can say the community of Nelson Mandela, right, who struggled their lives, or you can say the heroes of South Africa. So this he believed that how their attitude changed. So this he believed that love can also be taught, and human being is naturally inclined towards love rather than hate. Question number 2 given here is, why were 2 national anthems sung? So the 2 national anthems were sung one by one, whites and the others by blacks. That symbolizes the equality of blacks and the whites. That's why both were sung. Both the national anthems were sung. How does Mandela describe the system of the government and his country? In first decade and in the final decade. So in first decade of the century, the whites erected the system of racial domination against the blacks, right, which was the harshest and the most inhuman societies of the world had ever known. And in the second point, you will say in the final decade of this 20th century, the previous system had been overturned and replaced by one which is recognized rights and freedom of all people regardless of color and the skin. So like this he differentiates, or he described both of the system, one in the first decade of the century, 20th century is talking, and second is in the final decade of this century. Question number 4 given here is, what does courage means to Mandela? So this is very important line you have underlined also, that is, for Mandela, courage does not mean the absence of fear but a victory over fear, right? According to him, a brave man need not to be fearless but should be able to conquer or conquer the fear. So that is very important thing. So please listen once again what you have to do here, that what does the courage means to Mandela. So courage means to Mandela that absence of fear but a victory over fear, right? It does not mean the absence of fear but a victory over fear. And according to him, brave men need not be fearless but he should be able to conquer fear. And the last question of the day is, which does Mandela think is natural, to love or to hate? So what is your guess? We have underlined that also. For Mandela, love comes more naturally to the human heart than hate, because he has told that that is not the inhuman quality, inborn quality. Hatred is not the inborn quality. So that's why he is saying that love comes more naturally to the human heart than hate. So dear students, I advise you to write down these answers in your notebook, read the story once again, and thank you very much. Stay safe, stay healthy.